The last thing Elijah Brooks cleaned was his own locker. He left the keys inside, walked out, and no one noticed he was gone. Not the teachers, not the students, not the people who passed him every day for 27 years. Not until they discovered what he left behind and realized they had never really known him at all. Welcome to Fearless Stories, where money meets humanity. In today's episode, you'll meet Elijah Brooks, a man who spent most of his life being seen, but never truly noticed. Because Elijah didn't look like a millionaire. He looked like the man cleaning up after everyone else. For 27 years, Elijah worked as a janitor at Harrison Technical High School in Chicago. He arrived every morning at 5:10 a.m. Before the buses, before the teachers, before the noise. The building in those early hours belonged only to him. His keys jingled softly as he walked. His cartwheels squeaked in the same rhythm every day. Room 214, room 108, main hallway, cafeteria, always the same path, always the same silence. Most students never knew his name. To them, he was just the janitor. Some nodded politely, most didn't. One afternoon, a student dropped his lunch tray right in front of him, looked down at the mess, then walked away. Not even a sorry, just the quiet assumption that this was Elijah's purpose. A few left messes behind without thinking twice. Spilled milk cartons, crumpled papers, mud from their shoes in the winter. Elijah cleaned it all without complaint, without announcement, without expectation. Because Elijah understood something early in life. Some people are seen for who they are, and others are seen only for what they do. Elijah wasn't always a janitor. When he was younger, he had dreams like everyone else. He had once studied accounting at a community college. He liked numbers. He liked how numbers told the truth. But life had other plans. His mother got sick. Bills piled up. School became a luxury he couldn't afford. So he took the first steady job he could find. And stayed. Not because he lacked ambition, but because he understood responsibility. Over time, the uniform became part of his identity. Not Elijah, just maintenance. He learned to move quietly, to exist without interrupting anyone's day, to fix problems without being part of the story. And slowly, people stopped seeing him altogether, not out of cruelty, but out of habit. What no one knew was that Elijah paid attention, not just to people, but to his money. Every Friday after his shift, he stopped at the same small bank branch. He deposited part of every paycheck. Not all, just enough. Enough to build something, enough to grow. He didn't talk about it, didn't brag, didn't explain. He simply followed the same quiet discipline he used to clean the floors. Consistency, patience, time. He invested in simple things, index funds, dividend stocks, nothing flashy, nothing risky. He didn't need excitement. He needed stability. And over the years, that stability grew. Slowly, silently, just like him. At school, Elijah remained invisible. Teachers discussed retirement plans in front of him without including him. Students talked about their futures without imagining his past. Some people were kind, but kindness is not the same as recognition. No one asked what he dreamed about. No one asked what he feared. No one asked who he really was. They saw his uniform and assumed that was his whole story. Elijah never corrected them, not because he was ashamed, but because he didn't need their understanding to validate his worth. He already knew his value, even if no one else did. Elijah retired quietly at 67. No big party, no speeches, just a sheet cake in the teacher's lounge. "Good luck," someone said. "Enjoy retirement," another added. They meant well, but by the following year, most people had forgotten he was gone, until one winter morning, when the school received a phone call. Elijah Brooks had passed away. Heart failure, peaceful, alone in his apartment, his work boots still by the door. He had no children, no close family left, just a small life and a quiet ending. Or so they thought. 3 weeks later, the school principal received a letter. Elijah's lawyer. There had been a will, and inside it, instructions. Elijah Brooks had left behind an estate worth more than anyone in that building had imagined. $1.6 million. The number didn't make sense. Not to them. Not to anyone. They checked again and again, but the truth didn't change. The janitor had been a millionaire. The man who emptied their trash, who mopped their floors, who fixed their broken desks, had quietly built more financial security than many of the people he worked beside, all without saying a word. But the biggest surprise wasn't the money. It was where he left it. Elijah hadn't left his fortune to a person. He left it to the school, to create scholarships, for students who reminded him of himself, students who felt invisible, students who needed someone to believe in their future, even if no one saw them yet. In his letter, he wrote,
"For most of my life, people saw my uniform before they saw me. And after a while, I learned to let them. Not because that's all I was, but because I understood something they didn't. A person's value isn't defined by their job, or their clothes, or how much noise they make in a room. Some of the most important people in your life will be the ones no one else notices. So be careful how you treat people. Listen to them. Ask them questions. Learn their names. Because every person you pass is carrying a story you cannot see. I was never just a janitor. I was a man building a future, one quiet step at a time. And I hope these students build one too."
For the first time, people said his name. Elijah Brooks. Not maintenance, not janitor. Elijah. People wished they had known him better. Wished they had asked more questions. Wished they had seen the man instead of just the job. Students who never noticed him now wondered what he had been thinking all those years. But Elijah wasn't there to hear any of it. Respect had arrived, just late. Some teachers tried to remember his voice, but couldn't. Some students tried to remember his face, but realized they had never really looked at it. Because sometimes we don't realize someone's true depth until they're no longer there to show us, and the opportunity to know them is already gone. Over the next year, the school created something new, the Elijah Brooks Scholarship Fund, for students who felt invisible, students who needed someone to believe in them, just like he once did. And quietly, something else changed too. Above the gym doors, where thousands of students walked every day, a new sign appeared. Elijah Brooks Gymnasium. Students who never knew him now said his name, not because he cleaned their floors, but because he changed their future. Elijah Brooks knew something most people spend their lives trying to learn. Your title is not your identity. Your income is not your intelligence. And your visibility is not your value. He spent his whole life being underestimated, not because he lacked value, but because the world never stopped long enough to see it. And maybe you know what that feels like. Maybe you've been overlooked, judged by your title, your income, your circumstances. Maybe fear has whispered to you that this is all you'll ever be. But Elijah's life proves something different, that your value was never decided by the people who failed to see it. It was decided by you and what you choose to build, even when no one is watching, even when no one believes in you, even when you were scared of how it may all turn out, even when no one saw who you were becoming, because fear is not your legacy, freedom is. Before you go, let me ask you something real. Have you ever underestimated someone because of what they did for a living? Drop it in the comments. You never know who might read it and realize they're not alone. Subscribe to Fearless Finance, and I'll see you in the next episode.